Lovely. Okay, cool. So yes, shoulders and upper back and a little bit of stretching of the back. So what I'm going to ask you to get in prep for our session is a chair. And so grab yourself a chair of some description. I'm going to pop that to one side. And then the other thing that I'm going to suggest is grab a box. Now I'm just going to use a shoe box. Let me just grab, leave my pleasers, stick them on the top. So let me just pop them to one side. Oof. Okay, cool. So a shoe box as well. If you've got a nice wide shoe box, that's perfect. So if you've got a Hella Heels one, they're a great width because they're shoulder width. If you haven't got one of them, if you've got a roller, I don't know if you've got one of these. These are quite good because they're quite a nice height. So basically, I want something about 10 to 15 centimeters off the floor. Other things that you could use are jigsaw puzzles or a pile of books, or if you've got blocks, yoga blocks, they're also fabulous. Pop that to one side. Phew. Okay, cool. Right, we're ready. Got my box, got my chair, put them on one side to begin with. Yes, so we'll just open up the shoulders using those, and they're nice heights. Let's just start with warming up a little bit of the neck, shoulder, back area just before we start doing big stretches in it. So starting with the shoulders, I just want you to raise them up to your ears and then really pull them back down. Lifting it up, pushing it down, lifting it up, pushing it down, and last one, lifting it up, pushing it down. Then we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together at the back, pushing the chest forward, and then round the back over, separating the shoulder blades at the back. And open, and round, and open, and round, and open, and round. Lovely. And then we're going to sequence them all together with some breathing as well. So we'll start with going round, lift them up to the ears, squeeze the shoulder blades together at the back, and taking them down. Round, inhale on the rise, back, exhale on the fall. Up, round, down, round, up, squeeze down. And take them through the biggest circles you can. Lovely. Change direction, taking it the other way. Still inhaling on the rise and exhaling on the fall. Lovely. Good. Once more. Lovely. And then sometimes I prefer it with my hands on my shoulders. So we're going to do the same circles again, but with our hands on the shoulders. So let's start with the shoulders down, pull them forward, lift them up, squeeze them back. And just by bending my elbows, I can really change how I feel in a very similar movement. So my shoulders are doing the same thing, down, round, up, back, down, but they feel very different, and I can kind of get into different muscles by moving my elbows into a different position. Lovely. And then change direction, taking it the other way. I always like try to imagine that I've got pencils on the end of my elbows, and they're trying to draw massive circles either side of me. Lovely. And then relax and bringing it back down. Lovely. Relaxing the shoulders, and we're going to bring the head over to one ear over to one shoulder, lift it back up and take it over to the other side. And up and over and up and over. And this time when we're leaning it over to side number one, we're just going to really let it relax and just let it just sink down into that stretch. You should feel the stretch all down the side of the neck, relaxing the shoulders, avoid the temptation to bring the shoulder up to the ear. And just by leaving it with that time and the weight of your head leaning over, it will just be gradually and gently getting closer towards your shoulder and releasing any stress, any tension in the neck at the same time as well. Lovely. Now with the same hand as the shoulder that you're leaning towards, you're just going to place the hand just on top of the head, and just the weight of your hand will just add that extra little bit of pressure to stretch out the muscle even more. With the opposite hand, you can push away into the floor as well, and because you'll be then pushing in opposite directions, so the stretch of the neck will feel that little bit more intense. Lovely. Lift the hand off and the head comes back up. Lean it over to the other side. Oh, it feels weirdly like, it feels longer one side than the other now. Bringing the ear over to the shoulder, and again, we're just going to rest here and just let the weight of your head gently pull your head down towards your shoulder, feeling like your stretch deepening inside of the neck, just gently, gently. And through every exhalation, you can feel the neck kind of relax and release any tension that it's been holding. Lovely. One more stretch here. Lovely. And then bring the hand over, up on top of the head, and just rest the hand. You don't need to like push down or anything. Just the weight of your hand just adds that extra little bit of pressure to help to stretch out the muscle even more, lengthening it even longer. And then with the opposite hand, you can push down and away to pull your shoulder down even more so that it stretches out and lengthens the neck muscle. Lovely. Big inhale and exhale. Lovely. And then gently lift the hand up and lift the head back up. This time I'm going to turn, and so that my neck is slightly set at an angle. My nose wants to come down in line with my nipple. So I'm going to look down towards my nipple, nose in line with nipple. And again, I'm just going to place my hand on, and then I should feel it still at the side, but it's slightly more round to the back here as we start to stretch the back of the neck. And this muscle is actually attached to to a big muscle in your upper back. So you might feel it a little bit in the upper back as well. Lovely. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. Lovely. Lift the hand up, lifting the head back up, turning it over so nose now in line with the other nipple, head comes down, and then just placing the hand on. You can feel this stretch again, just inside of the neck, but more round to the back. You might even feel it starting to come down towards your shoulder blade as well, if you kind of just really focus on that area and feel where that muscle is stretching. So the muscle that runs all the way up to the back of the neck comes down across the back, right at the top of your shoulder, and then it comes down and lines next to your shoulder blade as well. So you can kind of feel it there if you really kind of pay attention. And inhale, exhale, let the muscle relax. Inhale and out. Lovely. Lift the hand up, lifting the head back up. Fabulous. From here, I'm just going to use a bit of motion just to make sure we're stretched a little bit everywhere across the neck. So ear over to shoulder again, and then gently roll around the front over to bring your ear over to the other shoulder. And then we're just going to drop back round through that front semicircle, rolling forwards and to and from each shoulder. And just through that motion, you can, you might feel where there's any tension holding. Lovely. And then when you're ready, gently bringing your head back up on top of your shoulders. Really, really nice. I want you to do a little bit more with the shoulders to warm them up. So I'm going to bring my arms out, turn my palms to face the front. Make sure my tummy's really tight here. So my pelvis wants to be neutral. It's really easy, particularly for my knees, to like have like a bend in your lower back, but I want to have a nice straight back. So think about maybe tucking the pelvis under a little bit, tummy nice and tight. palms come out, and then I'm just going to do little pulses forward. So just these little pushes forward, and it just really helps to warm up all of the shoulder muscles. Lovely. And then turn the palms to the back of the room, pushing backwards. Lovely. Palms facing down, little circles forwards. Again, just pay a little attention to where your hips are, how tight your tummy's feeling, keep that nice and engaged. And then change direction, taking it back. Lovely. Good. And then relax. From here, I want you to bring one hand in. So I'm going to have it just above my belly button. So it's, my belly button is here, my hand literally just above that. And then I'm going to bring my hand out like I'm serving dinner and bring my elbow in. Take my hand behind my head and then flick it up and out to take it, scooping it back in. So we're going out, behind, up and over. Out, behind, up and over. Lovely. Out, behind, up, then over. Last one. Out, behind, up and over. Switch to the other side. In, out, like you're serving dinner. Take it behind your head. Flick up and over, and then take it back in. Out, behind, up and over. Out, behind, up and over. Basically, this movement is really good at like starting to warm up and engage all of our little muscles in our rotator cuff. Take the two together, hands coming in, out, behind, up and over. And your rotator cuff basically helps to keep your, is like part of your shoulder joint. So it's just, sometimes we just warm up the main bigger muscles, but actually this just gentle movement kind of mobilizes all of those tiny muscles that are holding your shoulder joint in place. Lovely, good stuff. Now I want us to roll ourselves over onto all fours. Make sure that your wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips, and we're just going to do a little bit of breathing and moving of the back. So I want us to push our butt out, squeeze our shoulder blades together and look up to the sky. And this is when we're going to inhale. And then as we roll over, rounding the back, putting the tummy button in, that's when we'll exhale. And then inhale, looking up. Exhale, pulling down. Inhale, up. Exhale, rounding over. Inhale. And exhale. Rounding, getting bigger into the movement. And once more. And out. This time when we get into our position, I want you to just really try to get into the deepest position. So really stick your butt out at the back, squeeze the shoulder blades, looking up to the sky. And then rounding over, really pushing into your shoulder blades, separating, really tucking the tailbone down, separating the shoulder blades. Lovely. And once more, big stretch in our cow pose, looking up to the sky. And then rounding over, big stretch in our cat pose. Taking it to the biggest position you can. And then let's roll our rib cage round in a luscious big circle, feeling a stretch all through our rib cage, in our hips, in our shoulders. Lovely. Change direction, take it the other way. Good. Lovely. Now from here, I want you to bring your hands to the floor in front of you. Shuffle your knees back, and then you're going to drop your butt down so you're in your child's pose. I want you to reach far forward with your hands and bring your forehead down to the floor. And I really want you to think about pulling your tailbone down towards your toes. Have your knees nice and wide. You can maybe get your chest down in there. But really think about tilting your pelvis down so you can really open up your lumbar spine and opening your lower back. I'm just going to hold it here, reaching forward, stretching out those shoulders. Big inhale and relax. Lovely. And again, inhale and relax. Exhale. Lovely. From here, I want us to do Spider-Man hands. So we're going to bring our hands up all onto our fingers. So I'm kind of, I don't think it's officially called Spider-Man, just in my world. So bring your Spider-Man hands into position and then relax down again. Bring the forehead back down. And you can just feel it slightly different in your shoulders. You can kind of feel that lovely stretch just by raising your wrists. Inhaling and exhaling out. Lovely. Inhale and exhale. Lovely. And then relax the hands back down. Lifting yourself back up onto all fours. Whoop. Tuck your toes under at the back. Lift your knees up off the floor and then take your butt over your feet and then start to straighten out the legs. Now we haven't warmed up the legs at all, so I'm just going to walk through my knees just to stretch out the back of the legs a little bit. But I'm not too worried about my legs today. I'm going to be focusing just on the upper back. So I want you to then have a softness in your knees. So I've got my knees bent. Hopefully you can see it. I feel like I'm talking into my jumper. And then from here, I really want you to push your armpits down towards your toes. So your chest might touch your thighs, that's okay. And you're just really stretching, pushing your armpits down towards your toes, feeling that lovely big stretch all in your upper back. Lovely, good. Take yourself up onto your tippy toes and then we're going to round ourselves over, bringing our weight more into our arms and our upper arms, rounding through your shoulders into your plank pose. So from here, I'm not keeping my back straight, I'm actually rounding over. Lovely, and then drop the knees down and take yourself back into your child's pose here. Lovely, good. Just holding it there for a little moment. And then when you're ready, gently lift yourself back up. Now I want you to grab yourself your shoebox. If you've got your shoebox to hand, or you might have your blocks. If you've got blocks, that's great. Or a roller, that's perfect. So I want you to basically be placing your hands and your wrists onto your box. So it will just mean that it's a little bit higher off the floor, and this will just make it a little bit more intense for your shoulders. So I'm going to be putting my box a little bit further away from me, and then I'm going to keep my knees underneath my hips. And then from here, I'm going to be pushing down through my shoulders, trying to get my chest to touch the floor. So I'm just going to be leaning down. It's like your puppy pose, but I'm bringing my chest down to the floor. And because my hands and wrists are raised, it's going to be slightly more intense and a deeper stretch in my upper back and in my shoulders. And just breathing, breathing, breathing. You have the option here to bring your chin forward, so you're almost like prepping for a chin stand, or you can bring your forehead down to the floor. I personally prefer to take my chin forward, because then when my forehead touches the floor, I can't deepen the stretch as easily. Lovely, one more breath here. Lovely, and then gently pushing your box away to gently lift yourself up and out of that position. Lovely, really nice. Oh, I'm getting warm. Okay, good. So we're going to do that with stretch once more and just see if we can get that little bit deeper. And before we move on to the next one, so I'm just pulling myself out. Maybe have a little twist, and I'm getting ready to go again. So bringing my shoebox back into my position. If you find that it's a little bit slippy, then take it forward first, and then you can slide it into the right position. Mine's a little bit slippy as well. So I'm bringing my wrists on, and then I'm going to try and keep them shoulder distance apart, and it will be right above my shoulders. And again, I'm making sure that my knees are directly underneath my hips, pushing down, trying to get my chest and my chin to the floor. And just breathing, pushing my armpits down towards the floor. Feeling like I've got somebody gently and firmly pushing onto my upper back and trying to get me deeper into the stretch. Keep those arms straight. If you feel like you're starting to go a little bit tingly or numb in your fingers, that's okay. That's just because they're raised higher, so the blood flow is less. As soon as we come out of it, it will re-come back to normal. Lovely. One more breath here. And then gently pushing the box away. Lovely. And then gently taking yourself up and out. Fabulous. Really nice. Now, while we're going deeper into that position, I want to then just take it a little step further. And this is where I want to use my chair. So grab your chair. If you don't have a chair, you can do this on a sideboard, or I can show you on the mantelpiece as well, on a table. Anything like that is absolutely fine. I'm just going to do it on a chair just because they're mobile and quite convenient. So I'm going to do mine on my knees because I'm using the seat part of my chair. And then what I'm going to be doing is bringing my elbows onto the chair. And we're going to do it with two options. The first one, we're going to do it where our hands are going to be pushing in towards each other and our fingers are spread and my middle finger is facing up towards the sky. So my elbows are going to go onto the chair. Hands come into almost like a prayer pose. Middle finger up to the sky, fingers spread, pushing in. And then from here, I'm going to shuffle back and then drop my head through the little gap. It might be a little bit of a squeeze. And then I'm really going to try and push my armpits down to the floor. Now, this can feel very intense. This is more intense than having your arms straight. So if you do find it difficult, that's absolutely fine. So I'm just really pushing my armpits down towards the floor. Breathing, breathing. Through every exhale, feel like someone's pushing down gently but firmly on my upper back, taking me deeper into the stretch. Lovely. One more breath here, inhaling and exhaling. Lovely, letting gravity do its thing. And then gently, gently lifting yourself back up and through. Really nice. We're going to do the same thing again, so bringing our elbows back down, but instead of having our hands in prayer pose, this time I want you to bring your hands onto, like, kind of like wrapped around your neck or on the top of your shoulders. Often people prefer this position, and basically it just adds that little bit of a stretch on your triceps, but because it's changing your elbow position, as you know, that will make a difference in which muscles are engaged. And you know that from when we did our shoulder rolls, the difference it feels from doing shoulder rolls with arms straight to shoulder rolls with arms bent. I'll just demo this on, in case you're on like a sideboard or something, I'll just show you what I mean by showing you what it looks like on my mantelpiece. So I'll literally be putting my hands here and then stepping back and through. So hopefully you can see that, and I can really like push down, push my chest through. Okay, but I'm going to do mine on my chair again, same as before. Although I must admit, doing it on my mantelpiece did feel really good. So you can do it on a chair, mantelpiece, table. You will do your legs standing if you're on a table or mantelpiece. So elbows go into their position, hands start high, or you can start them on the back of your neck, and then I'm going to drop my head through and then push down and through into that position. I tend to find when my hands are behind me, I can get much deeper into this stretch, and it allows me to push my armpits closer towards the floor. I think it's mainly because my shoulders start to rotate out a little bit more in this position. Lovely. Big inhale. Exhale, let yourself relax. Getting deeper, pushing the chest down towards the floor. Lovely. One more breath. Inhaling. And exhaling. Lovely. And then when you're ready, gently, gently coming back up and out. Fabulous. Pop your chair over to one side. and out of the way. Good, lovely. Now, obviously, we've done a lot on the upper back and the shoulders, but I wanted to focus particularly on where we hold a lot of stress, which is those little muscles all around your shoulder blades, your scapula. So that little, like, the area where you feel like if you were going to have wings, that's where they'd grow. So we often hold a lot of tension around there, and all of those little muscles that are holding the scapula or the shoulder blade in place. So this is just a really nice stretch to really ease them out. So we're going to take ourselves onto all fours, and then we're going to lift one hand and thread it through the little gap that you've created. So between your knee and your hand, thread it through, and then bring it as far through as you possibly can get. And you can gently bring yourself down towards the floor, bringing your ear down to the floor, and you're just separating your shoulder blade and stretching it out, reaching as far away from your face as you can. And then we're going to gently lift it back up, take it all the way up to the other side, and this will just be opening up the chest a little bit more while we're here. Let's just do some nice big circles while we're here, taking our hand round as much as we can. 1, 2, 3, and then let's thread it all the way back through, taking it, reaching it a little bit further if we can this time, separating the shoulder blades. Really feel like you're pushing this shoulder blade, the one that's next to the floor, down towards the floor to deepen the stretch. Lovely. And then opening it back out. I'm not going to do my circles this time. I'm just going to open it and stretch the chest in the same position. And then I'm going to thread it back through. Reaching forwards. Lovely. Pushing the shoulder blade down, the shoulder down into the floor to deepen the stretch. And then open and stretch out the chest. Lovely. And then let's bring that hand down to the floor. Switching over to the other side. So other arm threads through, really pull through, and you can really stretch all of this shoulder blade out at the side. Taking it, reaching as far forward as you can. Lovely. And then gently lifting up and opening it out, opening up the chest. And then let's do this lovely big circles with the hand. 1, 2, 3. Which feels so good. And then threading it through, reaching as far as you can, pushing your shoulder into the floor to deepen the stretch all around the shoulder blade and the upper back. Lovely. And then reaching it back out, up and over, stretching through the chest, and then thread back through for the last one. Pushing the shoulder down into the floor to deepen the stretch, and then open out. Lovely. Bring yourself onto your butt or your knees. Actually, I'm going to go on my knees to find it a bit easier. And I'm going to open the shoulder blades a little bit more at the back. So interlinking my fingers at the front. We do this one in our normal warm-up, but it feels so good. I'm going to be then holding like a big beach ball. Like imagine I'm holding a massive beach ball. Keep your hands in line with your shoulders and then gently pull on the arms to separate the shoulder blades. Look down, tilt the pelvis under, and you can just really stretch out all of the back, but particularly the upper back, just stretching it out. Lovely, good. And relax, good. I want to do some little twists in our back just to finish it off. So I'm going to bring myself down onto my butt. I'm going to start with my lower back. So I'm going to lie myself down, bring my feet to the floor, knees up to the sky, and then my arms are going to be outstretched either side of me. So keeping my hands in line with my shoulders. Bring my feet together and my knees together, and then I'm going to drop my knees over to one side and keep my opposite shoulder pinned down, and I'm going to look away from my knees. And I should feel this lovely twist in my lower back, which will just help to release any tension that I'm holding in my lower back. Lovely. And then I'm going to lift my knees up, drop them over to the other side, and then look the opposite way and pin my opposite shoulder down. Lovely. Good. Lifting it back up. So I'm just shuffling just because I've got less room from where I am, but you don't need to move around. So in the same position. Knees are up, and then we're going to drop them over, back over to side number one, looking over to the opposite direction. And then with your top leg, I want you to just lift it and take it a little bit further. And it will just deepen the stretch, deepen that twist in the lower back. Lovely. And then bring the knees back together, feet together. Knees go up and then drop them over to the other side. Drop and look over the opposite way. Then lift the top leg and twist it that little bit deeper into that stretch by taking that top leg a little bit further over. And you'll just feel that twist a little bit more intensely in the back, releasing and unlocking any tension and stress we might be holding in our lower back. Lovely. And then bringing the knees back together and feet together. Lovely stuff. Now from here, I want you to roll yourself over onto one side. So I'm going to drop down my knees to one side again, and then with my hands, and then I'm going to bring my hands together. So hopefully you can see this. I'm kind of lying on my side, almost in a fetal position because my knees are together and my feet are tucked underneath me. But I'm going to be focusing on my upper body. So my hands are going to be one placed on top of the other, and both of my arms are outstretched in front of me. I'm going to shuffle around actually, so hopefully you can see it a little bit more clearly. So I'm rolling over, and my hands are outstretched over to one side, and I'm fully relaxed. With my top hand and my top arm, I want to reach that forward as far as I can. So my top hand is overtaking my bottom hand, and then I'm going to reach all the way up over the top of my head, drawing a big semicircle over to the other side. Lovely. Reaching out in opposite direction, and then I'm going to reach all the way back, drawing that semicircle all the way back again, and then letting my hand rejoin that top one. And hopefully you should feel that lovely big stretch and release on all of my upper back. I'm going to do it once more on this side. So I'm reaching forwards, taking my hand over as far as I can, over my other hand, and then I'm drawing like a big circle over the top of my head, or a big semicircle, reaching it up, reaching it round, taking it over to the other side, and then gently reaching and stretching as we come back, and then rejoin. Lovely. And then open yourself up and over to the other side. So I'm dropping my knees down. I've got my hands outstretched and my palms are facing towards, facing on top of each other, and I'm just relaxing on my side. And then with my top hand, I'm going to stretch it as far across as I can, and I'll be stretching over my hand. So I'm no longer palm to palm, but my hand is reaching a little bit further over. And then with this top hand, I'm going to be drawing a big half semicircle over, all the way over to the other side, feeling that lovely stretch in that shoulder and the chest, and then reaching it all the way back up and redrawing the semicircle back to its original starting position. And then I'll stretch again, reach as far wide as I can and draw the biggest semicircle I can, taking my hand all the way over the top of my head, round over to the other side. And then lifting it all the way back up, round, and then returning it back to its original place. Lovely. And then gently lifting yourself up. I forgot how much I love that stretch. It feels so good in my shoulders. Really, really nice. I'm just going to end with a little bit of neck stretch. Start with neck stretch, end with neck stretch. So I'm just going to take my head directly down. Just be conscious that I'm keeping my pelvis neutral and my tummy tight. Try not to arch the back. I'm going to interlink my fingers on top of my head, and I'm just going to be looking down. And then from here, I want you to gently turn your head from one side and then over to the other side. And just feeling where you might hold any tension. Hopefully not too much anymore. Actually, I feel really good on the back of my neck now. Lovely. And then just gently bringing it back to center, taking the hands off. and gently lifting yourself back up again. I hope that has really helped to release any tension you're holding in your back, in your shoulders, in your chest. We kind of did a little bit of twisting as well. Just generally a good old stretch all over in the shoulders. I hope you really enjoyed.